Moving on this morning, and success on the sports field often brings sponsorship deals off the field, and it's not long before top athletes are asked to put their names, faces and popularity to products. Clothing and athletic equipment have long been spruiked by sports people, but it's food which is
increasingly becoming the bread and butter, so to speak, for our golden girls and boys. While it hasn't been unusual to see our swimmers tucking into cereal and muesli bars, so far those in the fast lane have largely avoided fast food endorsements.
Why does KFC taste so good?
That was former Olympic swimmer Libby Trickett, and she's facing criticism over this KFC ad. Libby's endorsement has experts asking a few questions of their own. So, should athletes be endorsing junk food? In response, Libby has issued this statement exclusively to us here on The Morning Show, and she says the fast food chain has always been a part of her life, and it only treats it as an occasional. She only treats it as an occasional treat. Meantime, KFC also says Libby recognises that their food is something to be enjoyed as an occasional treat and part of a balanced diet.
And for more, we're joined on the couch by nutrition and sports dietitian Susie Burrell. Dr. Paul Harrison, marketing expert from Deakin University, is in Melbourne, and dual Olympic swimming medalist Phil Rogers joins us from Adelaide. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Firstly, Susie, from a nutritional perspective, should athletes even be allowed to endorse fast food?
I think the question that comes to mind is if the athletes have actually had good advice on what actually is in these foods. So, for example, with KFC, they use hydrogenated palm oil as one of the key oils, which has to be one of the worst oils for the body. It's also quite concerning from an environmental perspective. So I would question if they're actually given the advice to make an informed decision about if that's a product they wish to be endorsing.
Right. Paul, how influential do you think Libby Trickett's endorsement actually is, like in real terms?
Yeah, look, Larry, I think if this was the only marketing that KFC did, it wouldn't be an issue. But the reality is that KFC and lots of other brands have integrated marketing campaigns, and so it's part of a nudging tool. It makes it more familiar, more trustworthy, and then from the consumer's perspective, it makes it easier and to buy the product, and they reduce their defences when they're thinking about what food to buy.
Phil, good morning to you. Now, you've obviously competed at an elite level. Do you think it's right for an athlete to put their name to fast food?
The main thing to remember from an athlete's point of view is the only way you can earn money in a lot of sports, especially in swimming, is through private endorsement and sponsorships. So it is tough to say no to some sorts of deals when it is your only form of income. So it boils down to your own sort of personal beliefs and how you want to live your life as to whether you will sign on with a particular product.
Paul, Libby has been previously been the face of KFC's Cayenne Grill, which they claim is a healthier option. Should a healthy endorsement be viewed any differently to promoting, let's say, the regular menu?
Not really, Larry. I think the issue is that when we see these endorsements, we confuse or confound a particular part of the brand, like the Cayenne range, with the entire range. And it's a similar kind of situation to, say, the McDonald's and the Heart Foundation meals, is that it reduces your defences. And so what we know from research into psychology is that we only have a certain amount of resources to be able to make these different rational decisions, and it just reduces the ability for us to defend ourselves against the opportunity to go and eat this food that's very rewarding from a kind of high fat and high salt perspective.
Susie, the whole point I suppose we're debating about this is that KFC is really unhealthy, and it is supposed to be an occasional food. I was just having a look at the menu. A serve of Wicked Wings has, have you heard of those? 5,500 kilojoules per serve, and even the coleslaw is somewhere around 2,000 kilojoules. Is this a recipe for obesity?
Exactly, because these extremely high-calorie food choices using poor quality oils, large volumes of food in meal deals that are constantly plugged, exactly, and linking it to an athlete, someone who's very fit, and linking it to fast food, you can see that it's difficult for the consumer to differentiate between what perhaps are the healthier options and what are the general high-fat options, which are giving a third, a half of daily calorie intake in one simple meal.
In a coleslaw.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Phil, we have all this information in front of us today, of course, but do sports people consider this sort of info when they're making this endorsement, or is it about the check?
Well, you would hope that they're getting that sort of information. I mean, I agree is that you should get information from every source you can prior to making your decision to, you know, sign on the dotted line with any sponsor, regardless whether it's fast food, you know, sugar-laden cereals and all these sorts of things that, you know, athletes have been spruiking for a while. So it boils down to those personal beliefs. And if you believe that, you know, what you're doing as a treat is okay with returns to fast food, then you know, that's the way you want to live your life, and you're probably okay to go in that direction as an athlete.
All righty. Susie, Paul and Phil, thank you very much for your time this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you.